Welcome back to the Diecast Racing Indy 500. Here are your hosts, EP and Elise of EP Videos.
Well, thanks, Charles. We've already had an exciting first round with Ned Munson leading the first group of 6 drivers with a total of 25 points.
That's right, EP, but the competition is just getting started. We'll be watching Group 2 today with drivers Numbskull, Sam Hall, Mr. Darq, Sneaky Bob, Blueline, and Mark Ban.
That's some big names in diecast racing today. No doubt tensions are high as these drivers go head-to-head.
Our tournament today is brought to you by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Guys, this is a no-brainer. With high protein and low sugar, even your wife can get on board with this decision. And I have to say, this is the best jerky I've ever tried. But don't take my word for it. Prove it to yourself. Use promo code EPVideos for 15% off your next order.
Kicking off lap number 1, sitting in the pole position is Mark Ban, driving for Grumpy Cloud Racing, and to his right is Sam Hall. And it looks like Mark Ban is already making his way to the front.
Well, that's one way to keep your pole position.
Through the tunnel and into the merge, Mark Ban holds first place. Behind him, Blueline and Sneaky Bob.
Blueline's a little shaky coming out of those turns.
Mark Ban continues to lead the group down to the finish line. First place goes to Mark Ban from Grumpy Cloud Racing.
Well, I'd have to say that was a pretty exciting first round. Mark Ban did a great job holding on his pole position, but Blueline was right behind him the whole time. I'm curious, do you think Blueline was pushing Mark Ban, or was Mark Ban trying to block out Blueline?
Well, that's a good question, Elise. In diecast racing, it really is tricky to know if the drivers are working together or just looking out for themselves. But I don't get the impression that Blueline is out here to make friends. He's here to win.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I could see it in his eyes when I was there with him, trackside. I also couldn't help but notice the huge gap in the 6 drivers. Sam Hall, Mr. Darq, and Numbskull were falling behind.
Well, that was pretty hard to ignore. These drivers are going to need to catch up if they want to stay in the race.
Well, there you have it. Our current leader after lap 1 is Mark Ban with a total of 6 points.
And as we move into lap number 2, sitting in the pole position is Blueline, driving for Blueline Racing, and to his right is Mark Ban. Blueline quickly claiming the lead over Mark Ban. Through the tunnel into the merge, he is uncontested. Coming out of the turn, he has a huge lead.
My goodness.
Blueline is ripping through this track. No one is even close to him.
Turn out the lights, the party's over.
Whoa! 13, that is a brand new track record here at Pikes Peak.
Well, I'd say track records are meant to be broken, and Blueline did just that. Starting from the pole position, he left everyone in the dust, finishing with a 13-second flat track record.
Well, there's no doubt the bar continues to be raised here at Pikes Peak. Sneaky Bob and Numbskull really tried to keep up, but Blueline was like a lightning bolt from the clouds, thundering through the track. But with these high speeds, it does raise some concerns about his stability.
That's definitely a good point. Looking back at the initial D tournament, Blueline's car was very fast but unstable. But this is a brand new Indy car, so we have high hopes. But there is a fine line between pushing the limits and risking it all here at Pikes Peak.
And drivers are off for round 3, sitting in that pole position with Sneaky Bob, but watch out, Blueline is already taking his lead. Through the tunnel into the merge, uncontested yet again is Blueline leading the pack. Sneaky Bob in reverse and Numbskull trying to keep pace. Blueline still moving very quickly, driving in reverse. And your first place winner for lap number 3 is Blueline, driving for Blueline Racing.
With back-to-back wins, Blueline is bringing the heat today. Even with the pole advantage, Sneaky Bob could not match Blueline's blazing speed with another 13-second lap.
Well, taking a look at those scores, Blueline is in the lead with 17 points, followed by Sneaky Bob with 14. Oh, and I do see a DNF up on the board. Let's see what happened to Sam Hall.
It's kind of hard to see. But I think Mr. Darq and Mark Ban get tangled up, and Sam was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, unfortunately we don't have any cameras that cover that part of the track, but Sam's going to head to the pits to take a look at his car to see if there's anything going on.
Well, now's a great opportunity to talk about our sponsor, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. So tell me, EP, how did you find this delicious treasure trove of jerky? They have so many flavors.
Years ago, I took a trip down to South Africa and I tried something called biltong. It's very similar to beef jerky, but way better. So when I got back here to the States, I actively searched for someone who sold something like this. And there you have it. I found Righteous Felon beef jerky, some of the best jerky I have ever tried in my life.
You better believe it.
Moving into lap number 4, sitting in the pole position is Numbskull, driving for Numbskull Racing, and to his right is Sneaky Bob. As the drivers move down through the track, Sneaky Bob continues to hold the lead out in front of the pack. Into the merge, Bob holds first place, second place Blueline, and third place Numbskull. Drivers coming out of the 270 turn. Oh, and there you see it. That was that instability that we were talking about with Blueline. He was in reverse back to forward. And that's going to cost him some speed on the track.
And here comes Sam Hall to take last place. You know, we didn't talk about what was wrong with his car.
You know, I spoke with Sam briefly, and he was unable to identify any issues with the car. Might be suffering from the same illness as the Canadian.
Ugh, you gotta be kidding me. Illness? I was sick 2 weeks ago. I'm not doing it again.
I think they call it mountain acrophobia, the fear of mountain heights.
Oh, thank goodness. Now, I did see the Canadian sneeze in Sam Hall's Cheerios this morning, so you never know.
Well, with tough competition like this, the drivers are going to take any chances they can to get ahead.
Well, taking a look at those scores, Blueline is in the lead with 22, but not far behind is Sneaky Bob.
Moving into lap number 5, sitting in the pole position is Mr. Darq, driving for dubious Diecast Racing, and to his right is Numbskull. No, this is not looking good for Mr. Darq. 3 cars behind. Into the merge, Numbskull takes first, second place Sneaky Bob, and third place is Blueline. Out of the 270 turn, the drivers are locking horns as they move down through the track. Numbskull still holding the lead. Coming in first place, we have Numbskull.
That must have been a heartbreaking moment for Mr. Darq. But Numbskull, Sneaky Bob, and Blueline all set the pace and finished strong first, second, and third.
Well, I do feel bad for Mr. Darq, but taking a look at this replay, the Skycam shows us a clear distinction between the first 3 drivers and the last 3.
Well, let's not give up hope just yet, EP. We have several more rounds with all of our drivers collecting points throughout this tournament, so it still can be anyone's game.
That's so true, Elise. It's not about winning this group, but it's about staying consistent throughout this tournament, earning points to determine the final 6 drivers that are going to go head-to-head, and I am so excited to see who that's going to be. Do you have any predictions?
Oh, come on, EP. You know I don't like to play those games, but if I have to pick, I'd say the Crazy Canuck. I think he deserves a win here at Pikes Peak.
Well, this is our last and final lap with this group. Sitting in the pole position is Sam Hall, driving for DRT3K Racing, and to his right is Mr. Darq. Drivers making their way down the mountain, staying fairly close together. Into the tunnel, into the merge, Mr. Darq takes first place, behind him Numbskull. That means Sam Hall has lost 3 positions. Oh, and Blueline pushing his way up, moving into that 5th place position. Uncontested, Mr. Darq makes his way to the finish. Coming in first is Mr. Darq, driving for Dubious Diecast. And limping in, we have Mark Pan. And there you have it. Our tournament leader for this group is Sneaky Bob, driving for Vapor Racing.
Wow, I thought Blueline was going to take this group by storm, but Sneaky Bob was the one who really shined. He came in the last race and climbed to the top, proving that consistency wins tournaments. I think there is something to say about his name because he didn't shine until the very end. He really is the sneaky cat.
Oh, come on, Elise. Sneaky Bob is the sneak attack. He's been doing this to drivers for years, and that's what makes this tournament so exciting. It can be anyone's game.
That sure was an epic round of racing. I'm looking forward to the next group of 6 drivers. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, don't go away, stick around. We have lots more diecast racing to watch right here at EP Videos.